quick response on the way to my boy Jonathan's house. Unfortunately, he laid the bike down last night. It was, hold on a second. There we go. It was gravel in a turn apparently that he just didn't see. Nothing serious, but we're gonna go check it out. I wanted to make a response to Mr. Nina Nero about violent video games. Pretty much the effects on our children are, as he said, a saturated, what's the word I'm looking for? Damn, I'm stupid sometimes. A society, there we go. Society is saturated in violence. I would say yes, to a point. But not entirely true. It's not the problem of oversaturation, it's I would say how it's not really spoon-fed to us, how it's force-fed to us. I mean, if you were to go through the 90s, I mean, if you remember the 90s, that's for Nero and Aragon. If you remember the 90s, how it was, violent video games was still sort of frowned upon. When the first Grand Theft Auto came out, parents were in a rage. They still are, but more than they were now. It just wasn't really as acceptable, but at the same time, more kids were going with their parents to rated R movies than they are now because of political correctness and how much that's blown up. It's really hard to explain, but I see Nero's main concern pretty much is he wants to play Grand Theft Auto. I'm sure he wants to beat some hookers, you know, good old whore bashing. There's nothing, oh, look at that sexy reflection. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a good old whore bashing every once in a while. But when your kid's in the room and he's 4 years old and he's starting to get old enough to learn and comprehend certain things, I can see why that's a problem. But you have to look at it in a certain perspective. My father was a Marine and a cop, and I wouldn't say subjected, that's the wrong word. I can't think of the word, but I started watching, you know, rated R movies and playing violent video games. Well, the video games came later. Mom didn't want anything to do with video games. She didn't want me turning into a gamer, you know, some guy that just sits on his ass and does nothing with his life, which is pretty much what I do now. I'm so sad. I think in many ways it helped me because as I was growing up with my friends who were not allowed to see things like that, I don't want to say smarter, I had a wider outlook than I should have for a kid my age. The only thing is like when I started watching violent movies and stuff, I was smart enough to comprehend the fact that this is a movie, this is not real life. If I go do something like this, something bad's gonna happen, you know. But if you, I know what Nero's coming from and I get it, he pretty much just doesn't really know exactly how to approach it, which is, I'm sure, scary as shit. I don't have a kid, so I can't really relate, but I get it. But I will say, if you're gonna make this decision, you shouldn't oversaturate your kid's life with violent content, but you should not undersaturate it. You shouldn't shelter him because, I mean, let's put it straightforward. He's gonna grow up to be a fucking pussy. And he's not gonna be self-reliant at all. So for Nero, I mean, if you're gonna play the game, I would just play the game. Your kid's gonna hear the cussing, your kid's gonna see the violence and the blood in the next couple of years anyways. It's just having to educate them on acceptable, not acceptable, what's real, what's not real. And he's just gonna have to figure it out on his own. The only thing you need to be there as a ballast, be there as a ballast to explain right from wrong. That's really all there is to it. I had something else I wanted to say about this. I'm trying to think. There we go. Oh yeah. One of the first few violent games I played was Grand Theft Auto, the very first one. You know, two-dimensional, running into the guys on the street and I'm going, son of a bitch! And those guys. That was hilarious. That guy creeped me out a little bit. I mean, that was great. I knew the difference between right from wrong because I'd already been educated on that. Totally forgot where I'm going with this. Oh yeah. My mom still didn't like it. But I mean, mommy can't be mommy forever, neither can daddy. So you have to go on your own, even if it's at a young age, eventually, and figure things out for yourself. One of the very first really violent games I played, I mean, blood, knives, guns, the ability to shoot innocent people, other than Grand Theft Auto, which wasn't very detailed. I mean, it was pretty much a vague, two-dimensional representation of what it is today. But one of the first really violent games I played was Hitman, codename 47. And that was a PC game. That was one of the first PC games I was subjected to. And that's why I love PCs so much. It's because of the, it's not the promise is not the word I'm thinking of. The graphic potential was higher in those days, and I just liked the way the controls felt as opposed to a console. But that was one of the first video games I was really introduced to was Hitman. And if you notice at the end of my screen name, which I use on a lot of video games, Omega 47. Omega being the word for the end, which is a screen name I used for a long time by itself, being a sniper and stuff like that on games, because I was always the one ending a match or bringing an end to people's kill streaks, which was just amazing. People were afraid of me for a while in some Day of Defeat servers. It was pretty funny. And then I added 47 on it to symbolize or signify the beginning where it all started for me. It was Hitman. But honestly, if you're gonna introduce your kid to violent content or swear words, just do it. But you just need to be there to be that balance, to keep that balance. I mean, don't go throwing your kid off and then like locking him in the room. You stay in there until you start whore bashing. No, you don't want to do that. But I'll say from personal experience, it made me wiser in a younger age, because I understood right from wrong. I understood the ugly side of life versus the nice side of life that everybody believes only exists. Is this the fucking turnoff? I don't know where I am. Winterhawk. But just be there and be that ballast. If your kid asks questions, just answer them. I mean, if you've had the birds and the bees talk already, then I think it's time to start explaining violence, because I believe that would be a hell of a lot easier to explain than the old penis and vagina. I know I'm on everywhere. I'm trying to balance between focusing on the discussion and focusing on idiots today. There's a lot of traffic here, surprisingly, for this time of day. And I'm pretty sure I have ADD, like I mentioned before. I don't know, don't care. Hey, squirrel, shiny red ball, car! I hope I got the gist of it out. And we're gonna go check over here and check out John's bike. I texted him, he's like, oh, I'm just in the garage, you know, taking inventory of things I need to buy. So I'm hoping it's not too bad, but at least he's fine. Oh, there he is. That was easy. It's right off the road. Oh, too much clutch. Should be asking you that. How bad is it? Which side you go down? Left? Yeah.
Down the left side. I like that mirror stick. It'll slide right on out. You can pull it out actually. Take it out anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Shifter broke.
That sucks.
My plug down, and then this took all the damage right here.
I'm surprised the tail didn't get hit harder.
Yeah, that's what I thought the same thing too, but this right here saved it. It's a little bit wiggly now, but whatever. I got a little scratch right here, but
That did its job.
alright. I thought it broke off when I was picking it up.
I'm surprised it didn't.
Alright.
How fast were you going?
Well, I got right there.
A little elbow scrape.
Yeah.
Oh, it could have been worse. You want to ride it? You want to ride it? Go ahead. But don't be a fucking cocksucker. I mean, I think that's a pretty golden rule we can all really get behind. Don't be a fucking cocksucker. I mean, that should